northwards to the Rock Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Governor Mills creates a new commission to help coastal communities ravaged by the winter storms. Plus, Senator Collins seeks answers from the Army following the Lewiston mass shooting. And after losing an employee to cancer, Darlings is teaming up with the Christine B. Foundation to help people battling that dreaded disease. We'll tell you all about it. Good morning, everyone. I'm Craig Colson. Emma Smith has the day off. We thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's news coming up in just a few moments, but first we're going to start with a check of the forecast as we always do. Looks like a hot and steamy day ahead around here today, up past 80 degrees away from the coast. There's also a chance of thunderstorms later on today. For more on what we can expect, let's turn things over to Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, this morning not looking too bad out there. Looks like a few rain showers starting to approach. And that will be the common idea for us today. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms will be possible on and off throughout the daytime period today. Most of this will be tracking in from the west and going toward the east. Zooming things out to give you the bigger picture. There's not a whole lot else going on across the northeast, at least for the time being. If you look further off towards the west, a few showers and storms are developing along the system right about in here that tracks off towards the east as well. But for us, just a few showers and thunderstorms on the way for us today. On top of that, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. We could be watching for a few showers again tonight. On top of that, maybe some areas of dense fog in a few spots that we'll also need to watch out for later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow morning. As for the winds, not too bad. Maybe up to around 5, maybe 10 miles per hour at best. Maybe a little bit more gusty along the coast. But overall, today, tonight, tomorrow, the winds shouldn't be too bad at all. So for today, middle 80s, we'll see scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll also have a mixture of clouds and sunshine on and off, with that southwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, a few rain showers are possible. Areas of dense fog cannot be ruled out either, with lows in the upper 50s and that south wind at about 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms again, highs in the lower 80s, that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Again, a few showers and thunderstorms are possible as temperatures warm up. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll look forward to that. In today's news, Governor Mills signed an executive order on Tuesday in Stonington to establish the Infrastructure Rebuilding and Resilience Commission. It's in response to a series of disaster-level storms that left a trail of destruction all along the coast. Doug Banks takes us to Stonington to tell us what that commission plans to do.
The lobster capital of Maine.
Seeing this place that I love, that we all love, underwater, there's simply no words that can fully capture the horror and the sadness that we all felt.
On Tuesday, Governor Mills put pen to paper, signing an executive order to establish the Infrastructure Rebuilding and Resilience Commission.
Now is the time for us to take bold and urgent steps.
Led by Dan Tishman and Linda Nelson, the commission will travel across Maine to understand financial, electrical, infrastructure, and other challenges communities are dealing with.
We're a year-round working community, and we need this infrastructure to survive.
The town of Stonington was witness to devastation. Wharfs destroyed, businesses moved off their foundation, and for the inn on the harbor, it's never knowing when the unimaginable might strike again.
We're just continuing to go on as life goes. It's been very hard to see the devastation to the rest of the community.
General Manager Tricia Small says the storms cost several $1,000s in damages.
We lost our generator. There was a lot of different debris here, from seaweed to driftwood. So this is the Grace Bailey, and we had about 2 inches of water in this room. It was up to the bottom of this first step here. It makes you wonder what and why.
When you look out this harbor right now, what do you think of?
On a day like today, it's chilly and it's cold, but on a nice summer day, I feel grateful and thankful that I work here and I live here. We'll rebuild. We're strong. We always do. We keep coming back. And who knows what tomorrow will bring.
In Stonington, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
That The Special Commission plans to travel all around the state over the year or so ahead to work with businesses, community leaders, and organizations to determine how best to spend money and make plans to prevent future damage all along the coast. We will keep you updated on that. Well, meanwhile, authorities continue to investigate the discovery of two bodies following a house fire in Great Pond early Monday morning. Crews discovered the bodies after battling a fire at 23 Old Dam Way. They were taken to the medical examiner's office in Augusta for an autopsy. However, the Department of Public Safety now says more testing is needed to determine the cause and manner of death. They also say that they'll use DNA to determine the identities of those who died. State police say skeletal remains were found by utility workers in Gorham. They made the discovery Tuesday while working along Longfellow Road. The state police major crimes unit was called in to help with that investigation. The remains were taken to the medical examiner's office for an autopsy and to help determine that person's identity. Well, lock your cars. That's the advice from East Millinocket Police, who said on Facebook yesterday that they are investigating multiple car burglaries in the area of Canyon Drive and Forest Avenue in Millinocket. They ask residents who have home security camera footage of Thursday night overnight to reach out to them. The department is also asking residents to lock their vehicles and homes to deter thieves. Never leave valuables in your car or leave your vehicle running, unlocked or unattended, they say. If you do see suspicious activity, report it to police immediately. Senator Susan Collins questioned the Secretary of the Army on their investigations into last fall's mass shooting in Lewiston. Our Callie Warren with that story.
Senator Susan Collins questioned Army Secretary Christine Wormuth about the Army's investigation into the Lewiston mass shooting last October. This comes after Senator Collins announced she intends to draft legislation requiring military personnel to report threatening behavior from service members.
But to draft the most effective legislation, I very much need the results of the review that the Army Reserve has undertaken, as well as the investigation that I requested from the Inspector General.
The exchange occurred at an appropriations budget review meeting for the U.S. Army and featured an update from Secretary Wormuth regarding the investigation into mass shooter Robert Card, who was a sergeant first class in the Army Reserve. According to Collins, the Army is months behind on a deadline to release its administrative review.
Army Reserve's administrative review was supposed to be completed by mid-January, and we expected to have the IG's report by the end of February.
You will be able to expect, I think, the Army Reserve investigation in a couple more weeks. It has been, as we talked about, very comprehensive. And then I think the separate review being done by our Army Inspector General will follow shortly after that.
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has already committed to working with Collins on drafting the legislation. So has Secretary Wormuth.
We look forward to working with you on your legislation.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, the state of Maine is outlining the guidelines of the upcoming Paid Family and Medical Leave program. The legislature passed the bill establishing the program last year and included it in the supplemental budget. The Maine Department of Labor released the proposed rules of the program on Monday. It includes up to 12 paid weeks off for eligible employees for family and medical reasons, like childbirth or caring for a relative. Employers will be required to provide the benefit beginning in May of 2026, with payroll deductions beginning in January of 2025. In order to be eligible for that program, employees must contribute at least 1% of their salary. Employers have the option of using the state-run program or privately run program. In order to use the program, employees must also give at least 30 days notice to their employer prior to a qualifying event. Mainers can submit public comment on the Department of Labor's website. You can also attend an in-person meeting on June 10th at 9 a.m. That will be held at 45 Commerce Drive in Augusta. This past legislative session, lawmakers passed a bill that enters Maine into a national popular vote agreement. And now a group of Mainers are trying to use a lesser-known constitutional measure to repeal that law. Our Augusta reporter, Corey Bouchard, has more.
This has a significant change in the voting power of Maine's people. It really changes the power of our vote. And I really believe that's a decision that should be made by the people.
Under Maine's Constitution, if a bill is passed by the legislature and allowed to become law by the governor, there is one final measure available to block the law from going into effect. A people's veto allows citizens to gather signatures and place a referendum question on the general election ballot to repeal the law. Earlier this year, the legislature passed a bill that enters Maine into the National Popular Vote Compact. It's a multi-state agreement in which once enough votes join to equal a majority of the Electoral College votes, those states would cast their votes as a block for the winner of the National Popular Vote. So far, 17 states have passed legislation to join the compact.
I do feel that the National Popular Vote is a bad idea. I think the Electoral College exists for a lot of good reasons. And I think the most succinct demonstration of that is if you do a straight population analysis, 3 or 4 of the largest cities in the country could completely control every presidential election.
Dupree says after watching the bill become law, he started the process of initiating a people's veto that would hopefully appear on this November's ballot.
I really think that's disempowering Maine. I think it's very important that Maine has the ability to have our say. You know, the issues that Maine faces as a fairly rural state are very different than the issues that we see in the coastal big cities.
In order to get the question on the ballot, though, a lot of work needs to be done in a very short amount of time.
We've already started organizing people to collect petitions. Obviously, we need to get about 60,000 signatures, a tad north of that, by early August.
Dupree says you'll likely see people collecting signatures for the issue in polling locations leading up to the June primary. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
The Maine National Guard Cyber Operations Squadron just returned from a critical training mission. Dubbed Cyber Yankee, the training is recognized as the second largest of its kind globally. It evaluates a government response to significant cyber incidents involving critical infrastructure that directly affects American people. That includes things like gas, electricity, water, and other vital resources. Maine is actively developing a cyber response team to collaborate with local, state, and federal government-based officials in the event of a cyber attack. The city of Bangor wants to know how it can improve its downtown for pedestrians and cyclists alike. From 5 to 7 p.m. today, the city will be conducting an in-person workshop to receive input from residents about the city's downtown streetscape. The workshop will be held at the Bangor Arts Exchange and is meant to solicit as much public feedback as possible.
What we're really looking for right now is the public input for what they feel is needed downtown to make downtown successful. You know, do we want to see improved sidewalks? Do we want to see bike lanes? Do we want to see more landscaping? Do we want to see more parking? Do we want to see less parking?
This study will be the first step in the multi-year project for the improvement of the downtown area, and it is in partnership with the Maine Department of Transportation, which will pay for a significant portion of the downtown improvements. That sounds pretty good. Again, if you want to add your 2 cents to that, turn out to that workshop late this afternoon in Bangor. All right, the time now is 6:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, have you ever wondered what it would be like to represent our state in our nation's capital? We'll take you to BZ, where students got to learn from Senator Angus King yesterday. But first, to check out that local weather forecast, it looks like a hot and steamy day ahead today. Showers and thunderstorms on tap with a high near 85 degrees. Foggy with a few showers overnight, lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, much like today, a chance of showers and thunderstorms, another hot one. The highs will be around 83. We'll be right back.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
This Memorial Day, all across America, it's building season, hauling season, and towing season. And Ford's doing their part with special offers on our whole lineup of hard-working, dependable pickups. The best-selling trucks in America for 47 straight years. So get busy, New England. Your Ford truck is waiting. Now for Memorial Day, get 1.9% APR for 72 months on Ford F-150, only at your New England Ford dealers.
It's Judge Judy's greatest hits with classics like
That's ridiculous. That's a lot of baloney.
Judge Judy
on ABC 7.
Well, of course you're doing well. You're here on Wheel of Fortune.
Let's go win some money.
These contestants are going places.
Scandinavia.
They're moving and shaking and getting it done here on Wheel.
You could try to make it look a little harder.
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. A group of middle school students had a special guest teacher yesterday. Senator Angus King spoke to students at the WVII Community School virtually from inside the walls of the Capitol building in a tradition he calls Capitol Class. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
It's not every day students have a guest teacher, especially not a U.S. Senator.
I see my name back there, unless it's another Angus.
Students at the WVII Community School were joined by Senator Angus King, who appeared over Zoom to share his experiences as a political leader.
He's a busy person, I'm sure, doing very important work, and I think it's wonderful that he's able to take a little bit of time out of his day and meet with our children.
The senator has been holding what he calls Capitol Class since his first year in office. He says the goal is to stay engaged with students and inspire civic engagement.
They're reaching the age where they can really understand a lot of the issues that are going on and start to form opinions about them.
Senator King addressed key issues our state is facing, such as climate change and workforce shortages, and even shared what he went through during the 2021 attack on the Capitol.
I wasn't in this room, but I was in a similar room just down the hall during that moment. And I had to stay. I had to lock the door, turn the lights out, because people were worried about us, worried about our physical security.
Students say they gained a lot by hearing about the senator's work from him rather than reading about it in class.
I think it was fairly new for us to hear, yeah. We'd only really gotten what our teachers would tell us. Yeah. It's not really the same hearing it from the actual person who does the job.
And educators say it's important that students are engaged in these conversations.
They can make good decisions with their education and understand what's going on and what they think is best for our country.
In WVII, Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
For those who have been excited to get back on the golf course, there's a great opportunity in Lincoln to take part in a tournament while also supporting local veterans. The Emerging Leaders Network will be holding a scramble at the Jado Highlands Golf Course in Lincoln. ELN is a group of Northeast paving and construction employees working to build their company while also supporting the community. All the proceeds are going to the Maine Veterans Project, a group dedicated to helping to reduce the rate of veteran suicide in the state. Organizers say both groups share a passion for bringing awareness to the mental health struggles both construction workers and veterans often face.
Veterans are in grave danger of suicide, but once I started researching the construction industry, I mean, we're right there. And not to mention, you know, any demographic that is at risk for suicide deserves some attention.
In our construction industry, there's a lot of veterans that they'll serve and then they'll come work for us. So it felt good we can benefit us, and it's also helping people in Maine.
The Scramble will take place on June 29th. This is the first golf tournament hosted by the Emerging Leaders Network, but if successful, they hope to make it an annual event. Organizers say there's still a need for sponsors. More information on how to get involved is available on our website at foxbangor.com. What a great idea. Well, people came together to help get Camp Capella ready for the season yesterday. Volunteers with Down East Horizons, a local organization that supports Mainers with developmental disabilities, participated at Camp Capella's annual spring cleanup. The camp, which will be reopening for summer programs in June, provides accessible and adaptive activities for people with disabilities and their families. Tony Zambrano, Executive Director of Down East Horizon, says the cleanup event has been a tradition for about 15 years now.
We rake the leaves, we paint the benches, we put the docks in, which we're doing here today, and we have a great time. It's just such a wonderful thing to give back to our community.
Bet that water was cold. Well, to learn more about becoming a camper, or if you'd like to donate yourself, you can visit campcapella.org. Boy, can't imagine getting in the water right now. Well, Darling's Auto Group is expanding a partnership to support cancer patients. The car dealership partners with the Christine B. Foundation, a nonprofit that gives individuals with cancer access to healthy food and nutrition information. Darling's, which has been a longtime supporter of the foundation, is helping the organization's fulfillment site to stay running. The fulfillment site is where staff from the foundation package healthy groceries for cancer patients, and the funding from Darling's will help them to keep supporting local individuals. Administrators from the Christine B. Foundation say the partnership helps them reach more people facing cancer.
What Darling's has recognized is to keep it simple for patients, it takes a lot on the back end. So we have a fulfillment site that Darling's has stepped up to really make sure it can be sustained.
Unfortunately, we actually lost an employee this year to cancer. Yeah, it's everywhere. I mean, it affects us personally, affects our customers, affects the community. And, you know, if we can do a little something to help, we love doing it.
For more information on the Christine B. Foundation and how you can help cancer patients, you can visit chrisbfund.org. All right, the time now is 6:21. Coming up after the break, following a deadly storm in the Midwest, Iowa's governor is now declaring a disaster. We'll have more on that latest rash of storms coming up on Good Morning Maine.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store. With delicious homemade food made fresh daily, we offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Bad boy mowers aren't built for everyone. They're built for the bold, the originals, people who get the job done and love every second of it. Bad boys are built for horsepower and cutting-edge precision with a first-of-its-kind 3-link suspension and a style all their own. Because you're not everyone, and that's a good thing. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
At North Ellsworth Auction Company, we understand the value of heirlooms, whether collected or inherited. With 150 years of combined experience, let our experts handle your estates. Join us every second and fourth week of the month for our live auctions. North Ellsworth Auction Company, your trusted partner in finding new homes for your treasures.
Identical twins separated at birth. They first met on GMA.
All right, Gracie, come on out and meet your sister.
It's very overwhelming. Now, as they graduate high school, see the joyous reunion live this morning on GMA.
Now to that deadly storm slamming the Midwest. Iowa's governor has declared a disaster after a series of destructive tornadoes, and one resident saying simply, it's a mess. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the details.
Overnight, authorities in Iowa confirmed multiple deaths from a tornado southwest of Des Moines.
We do believe we have everybody accounted for, but we just want to make sure that with our search efforts, obviously this tornado has devastated a good portion of this town and community.
The town of Greenfield taking a direct hit from what witnesses describe as a monster tornado tearing homes to pieces.
It got really, really loud, and we thought we lost our house, but we were lucky. But like everyone else is not so much. Like my brother Cody, his house just got wiped.
The hospital in Greenfield sustaining major damage, windows shattered, the building evacuated. At least a dozen people injured in the storm were sent to other hospitals. The storms that rolled through the Midwest yesterday spawned multiple tornadoes in Iowa. One took down several 250-foot-tall wind turbines in Adams County. In Nebraska, widespread power outages were reported after torrential rain, high winds, and large hail. Back in Greenfield, Iowa, people are just now coming to terms with the damage.
Everything's going to be fine because we have each other, but it's just going to be really, really rough. It is a mess.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Boy, just horrible out there. Well, around our neck of the woods, it looks like a change in the weather. We'll experience some more clouds today, a potential for some thunderstorms later on today. It will also be hot and sticky. Time to put that air conditioner back in the window. Here's Devin Biggs for a full look at our forecast. That's what I'm trying to say.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Already not too bad after this morning to seeing some clouds that are developing, tracking in from the west. Going toward the east, a few rain showers also developing, moving in from the west to the east as well. This will mainly be a few showers and thunderstorms that can move in for us throughout the daytime period today. On top of that, a mixture of clouds and some sunshine cannot be ruled out either. Let's zoom things out. But we're watching for that little bit of energy right about in here. Other parts of the country seeing some showers and storms that are developing. The system here that brought severe weather to parts of the Midwest yesterday is tracking off towards the east. That could cause a little bit more fanfare in other parts of the country today, just to the east here, right about where my hand is at, and tracking further down to the south and west. So moving forward today, not too bad for us. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible during the afternoon period. Later on tonight, not too bad. A few rain showers can't be ruled out. Areas of dense fog are possible overnight as well. As we head towards tomorrow, more scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible with more energy that will be passing through. Some of that can linger in the parts of early Thursday evening, but as we clear out Thursday night into parts of Friday morning, maybe some areas of dense fog again as we head towards Friday morning. We'll make sure to keep an eye on that. As for the rainfall for today, just a little bit on the way. It'll be very localized at best with any kind of potential rainfall that we get, but otherwise it'll be very minimal. But as we do move forward into parts of Thursday, a little bit more rainfall on the way. So in total between today and tomorrow, some spots you'll see up to maybe a quarter of an inch, other spots a little bit more. It'll be very localized at best with how much rainfall that we do get further off towards the north. As for the winds, let's talk about that real quick. Maybe a quick gust up to 15 miles per hour today, but overall not too bad there. A little bit of a gust later on tonight, maybe around 15 miles per hour or less, but even through parts of tomorrow, maybe some gusty winds up to 15 miles per hour, but nothing too ridiculous there. Average high temperature is 68 degrees. Look how warm we are. Middle 80s for us today, and it will be humid out there as well. Lower 80s Thursday and a parts of Friday. Notice we start to cool off. The humidity comes down as well. 70s for the weekend and also into Monday, and 60s as we head towards your Tuesday. So for today, scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. We'll also have a mixture of clouds and sunshine with highs in the mid-80s and southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, a few rain showers, areas of dense fog also possible with lows in the upper 50s and a south wind at about 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms again with highs in the low 80s and a southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the low 80s, middle 70s for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Rain showers on Sunday with highs in the mid 70s.
Your first car, your first edition, and your first edition. We're here to help with all of life's firsts. Brewer Federal Credit Union. brewerfcu.org.
Your local professional eco-friendly office space partner is Levesque Business Solutions, your one-stop shop to get the job done. Handling all your office furniture and printing machine needs at an affordable price. Offering full system integration into your workplace and local service on everything we sell. We can even remote monitor your system with just-in-time inventory and service need assessments. Little to no downtime gives you peace of mind. At Levesque Business Solutions, your solution is only an email or a phone call away.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday.
When the Coach House Restaurant wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. The Coach House Restaurant, family dining at its best with fine home-cooked meals, delicious homemade desserts, and a large menu of tasty offerings for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. brewerfcu.org.
There's one number you need to know. It's called Joe.
Welcome back, everyone. It was a horrifying ordeal for passengers aboard a Singapore Airlines flight. One person was killed and dozens were injured when the plane struck an area of extreme turbulence. They were sent flying into the air, striking the ceiling and overhead bins. The plane was on a flight from London to Singapore when it suddenly dropped at 37,000 feet. It was then diverted to Bangkok, where emergency crews were waiting. Officials believe one man suffered a heart attack during the ordeal and then passed away. Several others are in critical condition this morning. Meanwhile, Iranian officials attended the funeral ceremony for the country's late president Wednesday. The service was held for Ebrahim Raisi and others who died in a helicopter crash over the weekend. Officials from Hamas and Lebanon's Hezbollah were seen among the mourners. The president's death came at a time of deepening crisis between the clerical leadership and society at large over issues from tightening social and political controls to economic hardship. His body will lie at Tehran's Grand Masala Mosque before being transferred to his hometown in Mashhad in eastern Iran for burial on Thursday. Well, now to the criminal trial of Donald Trump. The defense tonight resting its case without Donald Trump taking the stand, this morning rather, and all afternoon yesterday, the judge conferring with both sides about how he will instruct the jury in the case and when the jury will start deliberations. Aaron Katersky has the latest.
Donald Trump once seemed eager to testify in his own defense.
Yeah, I would testify, absolutely. Oh, sure, I'd very willingly take the stand.
But tonight, Trump's lawyers rested their case without ever calling the former president as a witness.
Very good. I think we have a great case was put on.
With testimony now complete, jurors were sent home, and the final phase of the trial got underway. Judge Juan Merchan and lawyers on both sides hashing out how he will instruct the jurors about the law before they start deliberating. It's a complicated case. Trump is accused of falsifying business records to cover up a hush money deal with porn star Stormy Daniels to keep their alleged sexual tryst from voters in the days before the 2016 election. Judge Merchan saying, "We want to make it as easy as possible for the jury." Both sides argued over myriad issues. Prosecutors insisted the jury should be told they can convict Trump even though he didn't personally doctor any business records himself, leaving it instead to accountants and bookkeepers. The defense pushed back on that. And Trump's lawyer Emil Bovey asked the judge to tell the jury hush money is not illegal. Prosecutor Matthew Colangelo fired back, though, what the defense is asking is for you to make their argument for them. When the conference wrapped up, Judge Merchan told the lawyers he'll take it all under consideration and provide them as jury instructions by Thursday to help them as they prepare to deliver their closing arguments. The jury's now off for a week after hearing testimony from 22 witnesses and seeing nearly 300 pieces of evidence. In closing arguments next Tuesday, the defense will say that none of it proves former President Trump committed a crime, while prosecutors will argue it all adds up to what they've called election fraud, pure and simple. By this time next Wednesday, the case should be in the hands of the jury. Aaron Katersky, ABC News, New York.
And real quickly, another story making headlines this morning. The Biden administration has announced they'll release 1 million barrels from the Northeast Reserve to help stabilize gas prices this summer. Should bring in those prices down just a little bit. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a kinship program is helping to keep children who are moved into protective care in the family instead of being placed into foster care. We'll have that story and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Mesothelioma is more than a ravaging illness. It is a disease that can ruin a family's finances and is never the victim's fault. The law offices of Joe Bornstein has been fighting and winning for Maine families for nearly 50 years, and we've collected over $500 million for injured Mainers. If you or a loved one is a victim of mesothelioma or asbestos-related lung cancer, call Joe today for a free case evaluation and to learn about your family's legal rights. Dial 207-CALL-JOE or online at joebornstein.com.
A new deck is a great, affordable way to improve your home or camp. Hammond Lumber Company can help you create the perfect deck for your outdoor space. Visit Hammond's product showroom and explore their extensive range of decking and railing options. Your Hammond sales rep will be happy to help you with your materials and design choices, and Hammond delivers from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Make this the year you enjoy that new deck you've always wanted. It starts when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the moments that make summer, summer. Like driving a RAV4 to wade in a waterfall.
Nice.
Cruising to play mini golf in a Camry. Or taking a Tundra to the beach.
You're not going to leave me here, are you?
You could get special low 1.99 financing on most 2024 Tundra hybrid and gas models, which could save you up to $4,100.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. It's also National Maritime Day. Created by the U.S. Congress back in 1933, this holiday honors and celebrates the merchant marines. It also commemorates the first steam-powered transoceanic voyage when the American steamship Savannah set sail from Georgia. The merchant marines are really the people who work quietly behind the scenes to make sure our imports and exports get to where they need to go. So this day is just for them. I actually have a couple of relatives who are merchant mariners, and they spend a lot of their lives on a cargo ship transporting products. All right, on this day in history, back in 1906, the Wright brothers were granted a patent for their flying machine. Their first application was rejected, and it took 3 years to gain that patent. In 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson outlined his goals for his so-called Great Society, saying that it rests on abundance and liberty for all and demands an end to poverty and racial injustice. In 1969, the lunar module of Apollo 10 flew to within 9 miles of the moon's surface in a dress rehearsal for the first lunar landing. Also on this day, back in 1980, the first Pac-Man arcade machine was installed in Tokyo. It was originally called Puck-Man, but it was renamed when it came to America because the company feared people would vandalize the machines and turn them into something a little less PG-13. In 1992, Johnny Carson hosted NBC's Tonight Show for the final time after a nearly 30-year run on air. In 2011, a tornado devastated Joplin, Missouri, with winds of up to 250 miles per hour, killing at least 159 people and destroying almost 8,000 homes. In 2015, Hollywood superstar Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson set a Guinness World Record for the most selfies taken within 3 minutes. And finally, in 2020, remember this one, Full House star Lori Loughlin and her husband pleaded guilty to paying $500,000 to the University of Southern California as part of a college bribery scheme. She spent about 2 months behind bars. For birthdays today, they include British singer Morrissey, who turns 65 years old today. Actress Maggie Q turns 45, and pro tennis player Novak Djokovic, is that how you say it? Djokovic, turns 37 years old today. I don't watch a lot of tennis these days. We also want to point out that today is also the birthday of former New England Patriots receiver Julian Edelman, who is 38 years old today. We wish them all a very happy birthday. Well, as far as our weather is concerned today, it looks like we'll see a bunch of clouds today and a chance of some thunderstorms later on. Really a sultry day ahead. It's going to be pretty humid out there. Here's Devin with the details.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, this morning not looking too bad out there. Looks like a few rain showers starting to approach. And that will be the common idea for us today. Scattered showers and a few thunderstorms will be possible on and off throughout the daytime period today. Most of this will be tracking in from the west and going toward the east. Zooming things out to give you the bigger picture. There's not a whole lot else going on across the northeast. at least for the time being. If you look further off towards the west, a few showers and storms are developing along the system right about in here. That tracks off towards the east as well. But for us, just a few showers and thunderstorms on the way for us today. On top of that, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. We could be watching for a few showers again tonight. On top of that, maybe some areas of dense fog in a few spots that we'll also need to watch out for later on tonight and the parts of tomorrow morning. As for the winds, not too bad, maybe up to around 5, maybe 10 miles per hour at best, maybe a little bit more gusty along the coast. But overall, today, tonight, tomorrow, the winds shouldn't be too bad at all. So for today, middle 80s, we'll see scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll also have a mixture of clouds and sunshine on and off, with that southwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, a few rain showers are possible. Areas of dense fog cannot be ruled out either, with lows in the upper 50s and that south wind at about 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms again, highs in the lower 80s, that southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period, a mixture of clouds and sunshine. Again, a few showers and thunderstorms are possible as temperatures warm up. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you very much, Devin. It's looking pretty nice for the weekend, by the way. In other news this morning, here in Maine, a growing number of children are being raised by their grandparents through the state's kinship program. This program helps ensure those under the age of 18 will remain with a family member instead of being placed in child protective custody when a parent is unable or unwilling to provide a safe and nurturing home. Our Jody Hersey has more on the need for more kinship caregivers.
I always go back to the Waltons, you know, how many generations lived in that house, and they all did it, and they all made it.
Terry Barnett of Winterport is a kinship caregiver. She is raising grandkids, foster and adoptive kids, all under the same roof.
I have 6 kids right now, age ranging 2 3-year-olds, 3 13-year-olds, and then 1 17-year-old boy.
Kinship care is when any relative of a child steps up to raise that child, when the birth parents are unable or unwilling to do so. Kinship caregivers can also be a close family friend, such as a teacher, guidance counselor, or godparent. The Kinship program, which is part of Adoptive and Foster Families of Maine, is a growing program in our state, with offices in Bangor and Saco. Bet Hoxie is the program manager.
In the last 3 years, I would say, 50 to 60% of all placements of children requiring child protective services are made with a relative, which is a really good thing because it's a proven fact that kids do better when they're with individuals that know and love them and have history with them.
The Kinship program offers guidance and resources to kinship caregivers in a number of ways, from material items to monthly support groups.
It could be as simple as providing something called a comfort bag. It's a backpack. It'll come with new pajamas, a stuffed toy, blanket, and it's a segue into other new and gently used clothing items that kids may need.
This program has been both a lifesaver and a life changer for Terry Barnett.
Every child needs a safe home. They need a house that's full of love. I don't want them to be ashamed of their backgrounds either. I want them to love who they are, accept the past, and change your future.
In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And still to come this morning, it was a big night for the Celtics as they beat the Pacers in overtime. The final score there, the Celtics 133, the Pacers 128. All the day sports news when we come back.
When it comes to the whole home heat pump rebates from Efficiency Maine, there's money on the table for everyone, and the experts at Valley Home Services are here to help you get your share. Even if you received a rebate in the past, you can still take advantage of this program with a new Fujitsu heat pump for your whole house. And no matter your income, there's a rebate for you. Let the folks at Valley Home Services lay out a Fujitsu heat pump plan for you so you can start saving on heating and cooling for your home. Don't leave money on the table. Call Valley Home Services today and get your rebate instantly.
Hello, this is George Whelan with Down East Direct Cremation. Now, anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, from the comfort of your desktop or the convenience of your mobile device, you can summon transport and arrange a simple, affordable, respectful Down East Direct Cremation for your deceased loved one. Just by using the button exclusively at downeastdirectcremation.com. All you need is the location address of the person who has died, their vital statistics information, a valid credit card for payment, and that's it. No need to pick up the telephone, no need to answer a bunch of questions, no need to come into the store, and it's still just $9.75 complete. It's so easy, even I can do it. For more information, visit us at downeastdirectcremation.com or call us at 207-225-5332. Simple, affordable, respectful. The Button, only at downeastdirectcremation.com.
Hi, Eastern Maine. Watch Person, Place, or Thing right here on ABC 7, weekdays starting at 10 a.m.
After nearly a whole week off, it is time to play some basketball. Good morning, everyone. The NBA's Eastern Conference Finals tipping off on Tuesday at TD Garden with the Celtics and Indiana Pacers battling in Game 1. Jason Tatum and the C's 4 wins away from the NBA Finals. Former Celtic Rick Carlisle trying to bring his Pacers a W. First quarter, Celtics started hot. Derek White and Jason Tatum running the pick and roll to perfection. Tatum ends up with a nice left-handed lay-in. Celtics up 3. End of the half, look at Tyrese Halliburton. He is going to nail this from the logo with just seconds left in the half. Ties the game at 64. C's had a 13-point lead in the third, but here comes Halliburton again. Another 3 at another buzzer. Indy down just 1 heading into the fourth. In the fourth, Celtics down 3 now. Jaylen Brown contested in the corner, and he gets it to go with 5 seconds left. We are going to overtime. And here we are in overtime. Jason Tatum gets it from White, shakes off one man and buries it over Halliburton. He had 10 points in overtime. Celtics hang on. They win a close one, 133-128. Now to the baseball diamond we go. With Memorial Day coming up over in Winterport, Winterport Little League is gearing up for yet another year of holiday festivities. Next Monday, historic Foley Field will host 3 games featuring Winterport Little League squads, plus yard games, raffles, and all-day snack shack, the whole 9 yards. And teams will even walk the town's Memorial Day parade route. As always, it's part of the organization's efforts to further connect baseball with the community.
We really just want to bring the community back in baseball. We want people to think of Memorial Day as a baseball day in Winterport.
Everybody can get together, relax, eat, have a good time, watch some baseball, raising the community upright, making the community event, keeping everybody together. And the community really gets behind it.
The day is so special that several members of Winterport's 1963 Waldo County Championship team will be coming back to throw out the first pitch. How cool is that? Just another testament to how much Winterport Little League means to people, no matter how much time has passed since those glory days.
I had reached out to a member who was a little nervous, and then he helped me find lots of members. We had 5 responses, all yeses, and I think that they are really, really excited.
We're continuing their legacy. What we're doing is important to them. Once you play Winterport Little League, you never leave. You're always home. So a lot of people come back at Foley Field. They have their old hats, whatnot. It's really fun.
Sounds like a good day. Let's stay on the baseball diamond. On Tuesday afternoon, America East releasing their all-conference awards with 4 Black Bears receiving regular season honors. Jeremiah Jenkins led the way as the lone first-team member. He led the league in homers with 22 and slugging percentage, and then finished top 5 in basically every major offensive category. Next was Gianni Gambardella and Jake Marquez on second team. Gianni threw 23 innings in conference play and allowed just 5 runs, good for a 1.96 ERA. Marquez reached base in 45 of 49 games, including 32 straight, and he drove in 34 runs in his senior campaign. And lastly, Jason Krieger was named to the all-rookie team. He led the Black Bears in ERA, and he struck out 54 batters over 65 innings pitched. Now it's time for some high school action. Starting over at Brewers Coffin Field, the Class A Witches hosting MDI out of Class B. Brewer looking for their 4th win in a row. We're going to pick it up in the top of the 6th, 1-0 Brewer. MDI's Taylor Grant is going to ground out, but Molly Gray scores on the fielder's choice that ties it up at 1. Bottom 6, Brewers Jordan Williams at the plate. She lays the sac bunt down out at first, but that's the goal. Madison Shaw scores to make it 2-1. To the top of the 7th, MDI down to the final strike. Lexi Tozier goes up the middle. That gets through. Grace Hodgson comes home. That makes it 2-2. So to the bottom of the 7th we go. It's Olivia Gilmore up with a runner on third. She ropes a base hit into left, and Olivia Bragdon scores with ease to win it for the Witches. 3-2 is the final on the walk-off. And while that was going on, MDI baseball facing Brewer at Hedrick Field. Bottom 4, no score. Brewers Anderson Clifford, a grounder to short. Caden Morin racing home and a wild slide, and he is safe, avoids the tag. 1-0 Brewer. 2 outs now, same score. MDI's Jay Haney strikes out Hunter Merrithew to end the threat. Bottom 5 now. Brewers' Eli Wall at the plate. Perfect squeeze bunt on a wild pitch as Zach Arnold slides in to make it 2-0 Brewer. Wow, how did he get that one down? Top 7 now. Grady Venetestein puts the finishing touches on his 14-strikeout, 1-hit, complete game shutout. Witches defeat the Trojans 4-0. To Bordick Park we go. A little earlier on Tuesday, Mount Blue baseball trying to take down the first-place Hamden Academy Broncos. Hot start for Hamden's Cason Wildman. He gets this K to finish a 1-2-3 first inning. Bottom of the frame, TJ Lorena on second. Colin Peckham gets a piece of one, but look at Nolan Liso swooping in for the sliding catch from center field. Makes the out. Runners on first and second for the Cougars next inning. Lorena gets a ground ball, flips to Andrew Cody, who fires to Garrett McLeod, a 6-4-3 inning-ending double play. To the third, bases loaded. Broncos up 3. Cody hits a slow chopper to second, and he beats the throw at first. A 2-out single brings in the run, and Wildman would have it working all day. Broncos win 8-0. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
After an accident, the insurance company often wants to rush you into accepting their fair offer. Don't sign away your rights.
I didn't trust the insurance company.
They were wanting to settle fast and cheap.
How much is your case worth? It's probably worth more than you've been told.
I called Joe.
I found out what my case was really worth.
Say yes to maximum compensation, to everything you deserve. Call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Every night is pizza night at Dragonfire Pizza. From wings, salads, and sides to our specialty wood-fired pizzas. You'll find everything you need to satisfy any craving by the slice or by the pie. A little slice of heaven is waiting for you at Dragonfire Pizza, Mill Mall, Ellsworth.
Welcome back, everyone. Time for a full look at our forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Already not too bad after this morning to seeing some clouds that are developing, tracking in from the west, going toward the east. A few rain showers also developing, moving in from the west to the east as well. This will mainly be a few showers and thunderstorms that can move in for us throughout the daytime period today. On top of that, a mixture of clouds and some sunshine cannot be ruled out either. Let's zoom things out. We're watching for that little bit of energy right about in here. Other parts of the country seeing some showers and storms that are developing. The system here that brought severe weather to parts of the Midwest yesterday is tracking off towards the east. That could cause a little bit more fanfare in other parts of the country today, just to the east here, right about where my hand is at, and tracking further down to the south and west. So moving forward today, not too bad for us. A mixture of clouds and sunshine. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible during the afternoon period. Later on tonight, not too bad. A few rain showers can't be ruled out. Areas of dense fog are possible overnight as well. As we head towards tomorrow, more scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible with more energy that will be passing through. Some of that can linger in the parts of early Thursday evening, but notice we clear out Thursday night in the parts of Friday morning. Maybe some areas of dense fog again as we head towards Friday morning. We'll make sure to keep an eye on that. As for the rainfall for today, just a little bit on the way. It'll be very localized at best with any kind of potential rainfall that we get, but otherwise it'll be very minimal. But as we do move forward into parts of Thursday, a little bit more rainfall on the way. So in total between today and tomorrow, some spots will see up to maybe a quarter of an inch, other spots a little bit more. It'll be very localized at best with how much rainfall that we do get further off towards the north. As for the winds, let's talk about that real quick. Maybe a quick gust up to 15 miles per hour today, but overall not too bad there. A little bit of a gust later on tonight, maybe around 15 miles per hour or less, but even through parts of tomorrow, maybe some gusty winds up to 15 miles per hour, but nothing too ridiculous there. Average high temperature is 68 degrees. Look how warm we are. Middle 80s for us today, and it will be humid out there as well. Lower 80s Thursday. Thursday and a parts of Friday. Notice we start to cool off. The humidity comes down as well. 70s for the weekend and also into Monday, and 60s as we head towards your Tuesday. So for today, scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way. We'll also have a mixture of clouds and sunshine with highs in the mid-80s and southwest wind at about 5 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, a few rain showers, areas of dense fog also possible with lows in the upper 50s and a south wind at about 5 miles per hour. For tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms again with highs in the low 80s and a southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. All right, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and more. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the low 80s, middle 70s for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Rain showers on Sunday with highs in the mid 70s.
When R&K Variety in Hamden wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store, offering fresh cooked meals that don't break the bank, gasoline for your mean machines, or beer and wine so your night is fine. Stop by today.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can start it with a splash. With a play date at a park. Or at a party with friends. Or at an epic water balloon fight. Gotcha!
You could get affordable 4.75% financing for 60 months on a fun-to-drive Corolla sedan, which could save you up to $1,300.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Your local professional, eco-friendly office space partner is Levesque Business Solutions, your one-stop shop to get the job done. Handling all your office furniture and printing machine needs at an affordable price. Offering full system integration into your workplace and local service on everything we sell. We can even remote monitor your system with just-in-time inventory and service need assessments. Little to no downtime gives you peace of mind. At Levesque Business Solutions, your solution is only an email or a phone call away.
At North Ellsworth Auction Company, we understand the value of heirlooms, whether collected or inherited. With 150 years of combined experience, let our experts handle your estates. Join us every second and fourth week of the month for our live auctions. North Ellsworth Auction Company, your trusted partner in finding new homes for your treasures. When Rowell's Garage in Dover Foxcroft wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance.
You're all moving on up. I am throwing the party of all parties. Everybody's invited, except for the students and most of the teachers.
It's a party, it's a party.
Now the race is on to develop the first female F1 world champion. That's the goal of the More Than Equal initiative. The first 6 drivers, ages 13 to 14, hail from Europe, Australia, and Malaysia. Chief Executive Ali Donnelly says with the right support early on, the development of the talented female drivers can be accelerated to create the equal opportunity for them. We'll have to keep following that. What a neat idea. Well, that will do it for this hour, folks. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll continue broadcasting on Fox 22 with all the latest news. But if you're heading out for the day, we hope you have a wonderful day.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. brewerfcu.org.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
Jamar Construction Products in Bangor continues to grow to meet our customers' needs, supplying products for site work contractors, concrete contractors, and survey and safety supplies. We are proud to be the local dealer for Hilti, Valley Blades, U.S. Fabrics, and Euclid Chemical, plus so much more. Stop by and see us at 1270 Hammond Street or give us a call at 907 4491. If you dig it, pour it, plow it, fasten it, lay it, or lift it, Jim Mar Construction Products can help you.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. A disaster emergency after twisters rip through the heartland. Overnight, deadly tornado outbreak.
Oh, house going. House gone.
20 reported twisters in 3 states.
Is somebody here?
Parts of Iowa completely flattened by a devastating tornado. Our team is on the scene as we track the severe weather on the move. Plus, record heat for millions just in time for Memorial Day weekend.
Deadly turbulence. New details and images of the aftermath inside the terrifying incident on a Singapore Airlines flight that left 1 passenger dead and sending dozens to the hospital. Passengers experiencing rapid negative and positive G-forces. What we know as the NTSB joins the investigation.
The defense rests. Closing arguments set for next week in the Trump hush money trial after the former president does not testify. And his lawyers head to court in